Christmas is nearly upon us, and what does every kid get really excited about at Christmas now? Star Wars! Okay, so this is a funny journey through the past 4 years or so, where I decided one day I would just use all my Photoshop skills, all those useless years learning about layers, about dodging, burning, colouring, cropping, resizing, what the burn tool is, using brushes, using the stamp tool, and any of the 1,000,000,000, I think it's 1,000,000,000 is the official number, maybe 1,000,000,000,000 features that Photoshop has. I was bored, and in 2015 I decided I would make a Nicolas Cage version of the Star Wars Force Awakens poster. Yeah, James, people for years have made Nicolas Cage parodies of this, that, the other. There's an undefinable quality about his acting skill that just seems to ooze parody. And something about his face just makes it very easy and enjoyable to just make fun of. I woke up, I literally opened the laptop and I thought to myself, I'm going to put his face on every single character that's in this poster. So that's what I did. That particular one, the first one in 2015, within about a week of me posting that picture. Where did I send it to? I think the only place that I actually personally sent it to was Facebook, and then it was some other high quality version of it was uploaded somewhere else, because as we know, Facebook absolutely cripples the quality. Every fine detail is crushed, it is absolutely ruined. So I was getting people tagging me in things like 9gag, various other kind of satire and meme pages and parody pages and whatnot were actually taking this picture, stamping their logo on it, then putting it on as their own content, or at least just not mention who the original creator was. It was actually my friends that cared more about that than I did. They're always kicking up fuss saying, hey James, here's another place that's not giving you credit for this work. It's the modern world, it's just the way it goes, who cares? It was out there, in the wild, and that's what I cared about. It had grown arms and legs. There were tens of thousands of likes and shares on various different pages. I was just finding it in random Google searches eventually. So I mean, if you added it all up, this picture got seen, I mean, who potentially knows? But at the end of the day, it was a lot, and I thought, this is quite funny. This is what being a bit viral is like, and it was quite exciting. What's happening next year? We had the cinematic masterpiece known as Star Wars Rogue One, and you can see my take on that here. So Rogue One was kind of the difficult second album at this point. The idea was, of course, obviously exactly the same. I had to download more Nicolas Cage photos, I had to make it as different as I could. I think I reused one or two of them. You can go back and look through all the details and see. I think there's maybe more than that. But at the end of the day, all the big pictures had to be different, all the main character photos. So I downloaded a bunch of new high-res pictures, I got to work, and it turned out really great. In fact, it's one of my favourite ones. Out of the four, I think, spoilers, there's four, it's probably my favourite one. It just seems the most ridiculous one with his laughing face right in the middle. 1 year later, of course, forget what you think of the film. I enjoyed it at the time. I've actually only watched it once since then, and it was The Last Jedi. I was trying to push the boat out even further, make the edits even tighter. It was just something I was trying to push forward, and that's what I was trying to do. But at this point, I was on a mission, and every year I was getting a little bit better. I'm using Photoshop all the time. Oh look, he's a geek. Whoa, big surprise. So, Last Jedi, come on in. So especially look at the top with the cloak and the sort of shadow, that almost killed me editing that in with the little Nicolas Cage grin. It looks too perfect almost. I thought that one was just a happy fluke. There was something great about how that turned out for me, and I just, yeah, really loved it. So I must admit, around the time that Solo arrived, in May last year, so May 2018. It was also around the time of the arrival of my son, so I actually didn't have any... I felt like I didn't really have time to just do everything that I would normally do, and this sort of just went by me. It almost went by me so quickly because Solo itself didn't really get an official poster until it felt like just a couple of weeks before the film came out, so I didn't bother with it. I can live with it, but we're going to get to something cool anyway. So 2 years on from The Last Jedi, we have my latest accomplishment, which is of course The Rise of Skywalker, or The Rise of Cage Walker. You know, these also had some funny names. At some point I kind of abandoned the Cage Wars thing and I started calling it Star Wars, and then had the Cage in the title, then had Cage in the subtitle, and then I went back to Cage Wars. I don't know. That part doesn't really matter. Right, this is the one where I was going to push the boat as far as I could, and I've even gone as far as to screen capture a lot of the process of me editing this, the before, the after, a couple little tips and tricks. So I'm going to run some of that footage, and some of it will have a little voiceover, some won't, so just follow on. At some point I might do a full tutorial about how I do these things, how I tackle the edit. If that's something you do want to see, leave a comment, please like the video as well if you like it, and we'll see what happens. You can see some simple masking and cutaway stuff. I generally tend to copy the Nicolas Cage picture about the right size as the one that's going to be in the poster. I'll shrink it to about the same size, and then from there I'll just start using layer masks to generally cut away all the garbage, and that's broadly how I cut away the majority of the excess that you don't need. Colour balancing it is another huge factor, and this is something that I never really took as much time on before. You can just resize and cut things out and paste it in, but what you really need to do is get the colour balance right. You need to colour balance to whatever the main picture is, and the thing that you'll often forget is that the white balance, the overall hue and the tint of the photo, it has to be spot on, or you can sniff a rat as soon as you see it. And a big thing about these Star Wars pictures is that nearly every single character, especially the main characters, have one colour on one side and one colour on the other side. So there's a red light coming in, there's a blue light over here. It's usually because there's a lightsaber this side that's red and there's a lightsaber here that's blue. So you really have to watch where you're painting the colours in, how you're tinting that with white balance, just to make sure it is absolutely perfect. Another massive part of this is noise. So you take a picture from the internet that's been taken by the paparazzi, or it's been taken at a press event, it's usually flooded with light, and it is just the cleanest, most digital picture you could ever see. All these big Hollywood blockbuster posters are generally they're colour graded and they're sort of weathered to look like the style of the film, or there's some kind of stylistic thing going on that looks filmy. Just filmy is the best way to put it. And that includes a lot of noise, or that kind of fine grain that you see in these pictures. So basically, to make it more believable, you have to match that noise with the picture behind. So that's the one thing that I really dropped the ball on with the earlier posters. I don't think I added any noise to these pictures. And it was something that I was already kind of aware of, but I just never bothered doing it. And when I look back, I think, oh, they're a little bit too shiny and a little bit too waxworky looking. I feel in this poster I've matched the noise quite well. It gets me about a quarter of the way there as far as I'm concerned. And of course, there are sometimes putting Nicolas Cage's face on another character has other complications. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. So, as we head towards Christmas and another Star Wars film, the last one in the final trilogy, is it that time already? Oh my goodness. Well, I just have to say, everyone, I'm not going to say I'm not going to do that. I just hope everyone has enjoyed this little look, Skywalker, through the previous attempts at me being funny, using Nicolas Cage as a crutch to get me there. Have a happy Star Wars Christmas. I'm still terrible at updating often. I will get there, but for now, I'm off to play with this some more. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, please. Thank you. Bye bye.